Well, obviously the hot topic is the quarterbacks. Kind of tell us where you're at going into spring camp. Looks like it's going to be a nice battle, huh?
Well, the biggest thing was getting spring in. That was huge. We did a lot of reps. I think Coach Newberry did us a great service of giving us a lot of different looks in spring. I think we got more looks in the spring than we will in the season, as far as defensively. So that was definitely a huge, huge help for us. But yeah, but the guys battled it out, and they were live. There was no insurance policy on them. They were free to get tackled and everything. So that was definitely another positive. Coming out of spring, Xavier and Ty were neck and neck. I think Ty had a little bit of an edge, but and Messiah had a solid spring as well. So 3 guys that we feel really good about coming into fall camp. Obviously, continue to battle. 2 days into it, guys they're doing great. They're supporting each other, but they also understand we got to get better as a football team.
So, I mean, in your view, do you still need to see improvement out of all of these guys for you to be comfortable with them, one of them starting against Marshall?
That's what fall camp's all about, is continue to get these guys looks and play full speed, going against our defense. We got to have full speed reps is the key. In shorts, going against each other is one thing, but when you put the pads on, that tells a lot more. When you go full speed against our defense, it tells a lot more. How guys react when it's full speed, it's going to be the key. So getting these live reps in as the weeks go on, it's going to definitely be a big help for us. But I feel good about these guys. They're eager. They want to get things back right. So it's my job to get them coached up and get them ready to play.
And if real quick, could you give us kind of the strengths and weaknesses of each guy? Obviously I think Xavier's a shifty runner, but may not have the same arm that the other guys had. Just kind of break down their strengths and weaknesses, if you would.
Right now, if you look at all 3 of them, obviously Ty's a bigger kid. It reminds me, he's Ricky Dobbs and Will Worth kind of together, as far as Ricky Dobbs' type of arm and Will's body. Now let's see what type of runner he is. Will was a surprisingly good runner, and Ricky was a very, very physical runner. Now I'm saying physical, but I want them to be smart too. I don't want them to go out there and try to be a battering ram and try to run through everybody and not last a season. So it has to be smart as well. But those are very well. He's very headsy. Showing that he's a really smart quarterback. He understands things. Made a few checks the other day. That was pretty impressive. And team Xavier, again, not real big. It's probably the one concern for him is being able to last the season. He has to be really smart as far as getting tackled, get what he can and get down. But he's definitely, as far as athletics, probably the quickest athletic kid out of the 3. Doesn't throw it as well, but he's really, really improving on his throwing. If we can get good at running the football like we want to be, throwing the football, should be better for us as far as throwing play action, throwing some wide open guys. Like for Malcolm, again, I said I didn't want to say Malcolm's name again. I got to pay myself $1. But what Malcolm did was he was so good at running the football, as we obviously know, that catching pass-wise, we always had guys running open because we were so good at running the football. And that's our formula. So we got to get back to that towards Xavier can be an effective thrower, which means he has to be an effective runner.
And last for me, I mean, do you feel like they're not there yet as far as their grasp of the triple option offense, making checks at the line of scrimmage, that type of stuff?
We're making progress. Again, it's always use the Yoda and the Jedi, analogy I use. They're just young Jedis now, man. They haven't got to Yoda status yet. But again, that's my job to get them there.
Randy Cross.
Hey, Coach, for all the attention to the quarterbacks, and rightfully so. I mean, that's easily the most important position in this style of an offense. How many of your 11 spots would you say are kind of on lockdown, or at this time of the year is everything open?
I think we're pretty solid. Receivers, we have a good core of receivers up front. Guys had a great spring. I think number 1 was Pierce Banbury, our center, showing up in the spring big time, going against, the quickest nose. I think in all of Academy football, Bernier is a great test for our center. I think Banbury did a great job of going against them. B-back wise, obviously, we lost Jamel, but Ross has stepped up. James Harris has stepped up. So again, it happens sometimes when you lose a player, other guys step up. So, with all due respect to Jamel, we got to move on. We can't, cry with spilt milk and say, hey, we lost a good player, but we got to fill that role really fast. I think Russ has done a great job of doing that. And James Harris stepped up as well. We got a young We got a young P that's also, making some headway. A-backs against are always solid. Hopefully we can get, one of our freshman A-backs with some speed to also get in the mix. But overall, I think offensive wise, we're pretty set. Just got to continue to get reps, continue to get better, and bring our QB along, and on opening day, go out and get after it.
Cool. Thanks, Coach.
Pleasure.
Chick, do you have anything?
Yeah, Coach, you've been the quarterback's coach for 14 years. You've seen guys progress. What's the most important aspect in your mind that helps a quarterback take that next step?
Well, obviously, you have to get the reps. Obviously, last year, Ty didn't get any reps last year. But that's what's surprising about him is that he came into spring, and he looks like he's been doing it forever. And that's always the one key is seeing if a young man is comfortable running the option, his mechanics, his footwork, getting off, making the reads. He does a pretty good job at doing that. And that's what I was very happy with. Now, Xavier did get the game reps last year, so he's done it. You can tell that in the room. He's probably the most calm guy. When I ask him a question, he's a more relaxed guy. Some guys, you ask him, they kind of get a little jittery, but he's really, really relaxed because he's done it already. So again, it's always just getting those reps, full speed reps is definitely going to be the key in getting those guys ready.
And how different or I'll say easier, has your job been made by the fact that you have had the time with the guys as opposed to last year, which no one knew what was going on?
Spring is huge. Again, and I can't say it enough, and especially with our defense. Coach Newberry did, he did so much. I broke our defense down. I think I had 10 different defenses that I would call different just by looking at what they were doing for our guys to see. And it was definitely a huge, huge plus to get all those looks. The guys understood them. They knew where to run the football if we got certain looks. So it was definitely a huge piece of the puzzle getting those looks in the spring.
Phil Bergman.
Coach, anybody on offense catching your eye so far in these first few practices?
Again, it needs to be the quarterback catching my eye. That's all I want to see. Again, I think we're set up front. Our A backs are solid, receivers are solid, our B backs are solid. We just got to get our quarterback ready to play. We all know last year, just didn't have the productivity from our quarterback, the threat of running the football from our quarterback. And we got to get that back this year. So I'm focused on getting that one guy, those two guys, really ready to play football for us.
We talked to Isaac earlier. What are you seeing out of him at the fullback position?
Doesn't say much at all. The kid just works. For what we want to do this year, to be a physical football team, be a hard-nosed football team, we're going to need a hard-nosed, physical fullback. I think he fits that mold. Right? He's a good blocker, but he wants to run the football. He'll take a pound and he'll keep coming. James Harris is the same exact way. So we have two guys right now that, for what we want to do this year, how we want to be this year, that fit the mold for us.
Thank you.
Arlo. Carlo, do you have anything?
No, I'm all set, Coach.
Scott Wykoff.
Coach, what does it mean for you and for the program to have two sophomore quarterbacks like you have now that you can mold, that you're not reinventing the wheel, that you can really grow and build with?
Well, any program, any team at any level, the QB is the key, and having an experienced developed quarterback is the key. Now, again, Ty doesn't have any game experience. On opening day, if he's a starter, it's going to be interesting to see how he responds to being out there. And Marshall's going to be a great test for us to walk out against. He's going to be looking at some dudes on the other side of the football, so how he reacts is going to be important. But it's always important to have two guys. I think Masai, again, is making a lot of headway. So we're going to have three guys that we can work with and get ready to play. But I'm always focused on make sure we have two guys that can play, because they're always one play away from being a starter. So having two guys ready to play, two sophomores, means you have 3 more years with these guys, or 3 seasons with these guys that'll really pay dividends for us. So the experience, having guys come back over the years and be able to plug the quarterback in every single year has always been key. And I have two good guys right now that I feel good about. Just got to coach them up and get them ready to play.
It really seems like this could be a breakout season for Chance Horn. He's done such a great job in the many different roles that you've put him in over the previous seasons, and now really able to focus, I think, on what his real skill level is as a slot back. it seems as though this could be the season that he could do great things.
Well, expecting a lot from the group as a whole. It's a pretty solid group, and they have a great leader in Chance. Our office has a great leader in Chance. The kid's always, his energy always, every single day he brings energy. I would say it's kind of similar to Ford Higgins. When you have one guy on offense that's always positive, that comes back the same every single day, that has energy, it makes everybody else bring that same energy. So this kid comes out there every single day. He's full of energy. He's full of life. He loves playing a game. He's always yapping and talking. You know, that's one thing that about him, but it makes everybody else step up as well. So this season for him, as always, his last season, I'm sure he's looking to have a breakout year. Like anything else, this is an option offense. What teams are going to give us and take away, we'll see when we get into the games. But finding ways to get the ball to him will be key for us, and I'm sure he'll make plays for us.
And I know for you that the biggest thing, the attention to detail, seeing that into the first couple practices. How is this team responding to your focus to that attention to detail that's so important for the triple option at Navy?
Well, that was our first team meeting we had with the offense. That's what I talked about. I talked about details, the little things. Take care of the football, obviously, is first and foremost, but they understand. We have to be efficient, very, very efficient. And I used our heart. I used our heart as just trying to show them how efficient something needs to be. Try to give them a picture of how efficient we need to be. And I use this muscle that beats every single day. For me, it's been beaten for 51 years, and it's efficient. It hasn't stopped. And as an offense, we have to be that way. We can't take plays off. We can't make mistakes. We can't say, "Oh, my bad." We have to be perfect. And unfortunately for us, always I've been here, it's how we have to be. Now, again, we don't have guys where we can throw the ball out there, and sometimes they make 8 guys miss and score a touchdown. Every single thing we do in offense, we have to be perfect and calculated in everything we do. So, and we've done it year after year, and there's no reason why we can't do it now. So that's our goal. That's going to be who we are. Got to go out and get after it.
Thanks, Coach. Have a good practice today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cadman will make another trip around. Wags.
Yeah, Coach, you've got 2 outstanding wide receivers in Mark Walker and Michael Cooper. Do you feel it's important to make sure you incorporate? I know you don't want to chuck the ball 20, 25 times a game, but do you think it's important to utilize their skills because they're both can make big plays?
Yes, there's always a reason when you go into a football game, you got to get the ball to your best players. You have to make it a priority to get the ball to your best players. We're going to have in our package this year ways to get those 2 guys to football. Wide receiver wise, in all my years here, it's probably as far as a core of receivers, it's probably our best player that we've had. And Marcel Bleedon has come on so much this spring as well. So he's going to be in the mix as well too. So for a group of receivers and for our quarterbacks, if Ty is the starter, he can throw the football very, very well. We will take advantage of that. But again, we have to get better at running the football, making people defend our offense, defend the run, just open up our pass for us. But without a doubt, those guys need to get involved in our game present, and they will be.
Well, Pierce Barrenberry started every game last year, and then Kip Franklin made some starts toward the end of the season. Any of these younger offensive linemen that'll be first-year starters, guys like a Casabello or a Pena or a Bernacchi, any of these guys that really stand out to you and you think is going to have a big season and be maybe a surprise to some folks?
I think they all will have a solid year, but Jay Casabella, this kid plays with one speed. He plays fast. He's a very intense player. He gets after it. He's similar to Ford Higgins, but again, Ford Higgins is a different story. He was a special kid. But Jake has great energy. He plays fast, never takes a play off. So again, we have the right tools up front, O-line, Watson, and Josh Pena plays hard too. Just a matter of getting ready to play, having a great fall camp, and then on opening day, we got to turn these guys loose and get after some people.
And last for me, I thought an interesting player, Malcolm Terry, switched from slot back to fullback, which was what Jamal Carruthers had done. And I'm sensing, Harris and Isaac are both kind of bruisers, the power bracks. But does Malcolm Terry maybe bring a different element to the fullback position?
I mean, there's a spot for him exactly. Very powerful kid, very strong kid, explosive, and he has really good speed. So there's always a place for a young man at that position to be able to maybe get him a few snaps in a game, which is a special situation. Get him ball on the perimeter, get him outside. But there's definitely a spot for Malcolm Perry in this offense and in our scheme, and we'll definitely find those for him.
You said Malcolm Perry.
I know. That's why I just put my head down.
It's crazy with that Malcolm Perry.
Another dollar.
I know.
Thanks, Wags. Chick?
I'm good.
Bill?
Coach, yeah, the relationship between the quarterback and center is so key in this
Exactly.
offense. Just with splitting 3 guys right now in those first team reps, how do you develop this relationship?
Well, in pre-practice, we get about 10 minutes of snaps, and they all rotate. And we make sure every drill we have the centers there as well. So they have their drills that they do with the O-line coaches, but any free period we get, we're with the centers, snap the ball every single time, even the mesh point too. So you say centers, the mesh point is important too. All the fullbacks roll as well. So the centers, all QBs and all B-backs, they all roll together. Okay, they rotate with each other so we can get a feel for each guy. They all have to understand and know where, because every center is different, right, Randy, as far as where that ball's going to go, snapping that football. But it's important. And for us, obviously, with rolling fullback center, it's important that they all get snaps with different QBs. All the QBs, they must learn getting that top hand pressure so the center can feel where that hand is and get the ball up there. So it's something that we're very conscious of, and we always make sure that we address it.
Well, thank you. Thanks for doing this, Isaac. Really appreciate you taking the time. I'm sure it's getting to be kind of a nuts time of the year for you.
Problem.
Hey, your size, at being 6'1", how much more do you have to concentrate on your pad levels and your lean and everything else, being that close to the line of scrimmage where everything is going to happen in milliseconds almost?
That's something that I work on constantly even from high school. I played the same position in high school, and just constantly pad level, because pad level is everything, especially to this position, and you need your power from a lower spot, and something I'm always working on.
Yeah. Is there any way to simulate your reaction time, the things you have to do inside as fast as things happen?
I mean, in practice, going against the defense and stuff, every day is simulating it.
Oh, I imagine it does. All right. Thank you.
Obviously, losing Nelson Smith and Jamal Carruthers was a double blow. Can you talk about the challenge, the responsibility of you and James Harris and whoever else is in that fullback room to step up and make sure that their loss of those 2 outstanding fullbacks does not hurt the offense?
Yeah, it's definitely big shoes to fill. And I mean, being behind them past 2 years has just helped me learn and grow just watching them. And nothing really runs without the fullback and the quarterback in our offense. So it's definitely big shoes to fill. And I mean, I fully accept the role and understand how important it is to do the job.
So when you heard the news about Jamal, obviously he emerged from spring camp as a starter, as we would expect, since he had so much experience and has done so well in the past. But did there suddenly become a sense of urgency of, the pressure is on me and James, and we better get ourselves ready and make sure we have a really good off season of working out so that we're prepared to step up and fight for the starting spot?
It was definitely disappointing to hear, but me and James have both been working this whole time, as if we were the starters. So it wasn't a huge step up. It's just now I'm the guy, James is the guy instead of Jamel, and we just continue working the way we were before.
Obviously, those 2 received almost all the carries at the fullback spot. If I'm correct, you and James received no game carries. A year of not having game action and seeing live how the holes develop, hitting the holes with, speed. Can you talk about, do you expect an adjustment to getting back to, game speed and all of what goes with it?
I think there'll definitely be an adjustment, but I think it also helps just going against our defense in practice every day. They're just as capable of going against the option as anybody. So the holes and stuff are just to just as small going against the defense in practice as they would be in a game.
And last for me, what do you feel you bring to the table? I mean, could you perhaps describe yourself as a fullback? Coach Niemot mentioned Vince Murray. I don't know if you've watched old film, but Vince Murray was pretty good fullback here, but he was a bruiser, inside bruiser. How would you describe yourself in your running style?
I'd say I'm a downhill runner. I'm not going to be a shifty guy. I'm just going to be downhill, get the job done, whatever it is. Don't need all the glory.
Let's go to Phil Bergman.
Hey, Isaac, Phil Bergman, Navy Sports, NavySports.com. At Media Day on Saturday, the captains were talking about just how far along you guys are for starting off camp a few days in. Just in your opinion, how is camp looking 2 or 3 practices in?
I mean, it's still early, but I think just compared to last year, just being out in the field, being able to have a real practice is a big difference from last year. And I think everybody has full effort and stuff. There's also lots of little things you have to clean up and stuff, obviously, this early in practice, but I think it's looking good so far.
You're right now atop the depth chart at fullback. I know it's still early, but just what is this like to be atop the depth chart and be a leader to the rest of that position group?
I mean, we have 5 new B-backs this year, so being a leader for all of them, they're all learning the playbook now. Me and James have had to step up and just helping on the field and in the room, just helping them understand the new knowledge and showing them how to practice as a Navy football player.
Thanks.
Well, let's go back to Scott Wykoff. Give it another shot.
All right. Isaac, what was the takeaway for you last year playing the entire season on special teams, focusing on special teams, doing that? What's the takeaway that's going to help you be a better fullback this year, being able to focus on the offense?
I think the biggest thing is just learning to be selfless. Special team spots aren't a glamorous spot. It's just a small little job you have to do and focus on the details. And at one time, you get like 3-4 opportunities a game. You have to excel in those opportunities. And I think that just helps me know my role and focus on the little things during each play.
You mentioned the defense when the ones go against the ones. What impresses you the most about Navy's defense that you see when you run the ball against them and you have to go up against them?
I'd say how much they move around and just adapt to what we're doing. Like during the spring ball, we would do something, we would be successful at that one day, and the next day they'd come back with some way to counter that, and we'd have to learn and adapt after that, off of that.
You mentioned the 5 new backs in the backfield. I guess you guys kind of can come together and really prove something that you guys have what it takes. Do you kind of look at that's saying, we can do what these guys have done before us?
Definitely. Like all of us are new now. None of us have extensive game time, and it's our time to step up and prove what we can do, and we definitely can.
And finally, what's it been like for you guys getting into the new facility with all the new things that you have to work with in Terwilliger?
It's very nice compared to what I had plebe year to now. It's like night and day difference. Just the meeting rooms and stuff. It's all in one place. We used to be working out in one place, going to team meeting another place, and then walking over here for team or position meetings. And it's just like very nice to have it all in one place, and it's very nice stuff.
Thanks, Isaac.
Chick Hernandez, you have anything? You good? Okay. I'll make another round. Randy?
Yeah, I got one more. Isaac, you're in a great sort of teaching position. What can the guys coming off of plebe summer and just getting going in this program learn from your experience, your past few years at Navy? I mean, you're finally getting your shot, and most guys come into college, coming out of high school, you're a star, you figure you're going to play quite a bit, and you're finally getting your shot now as a senior.
I'd just say knowing your role and then accepting it and working every day to be that guy eventually, because you can't give up on. If I would give up 2 years ago when I was just scout team player, whatever, I wouldn't be here now. And you got to give the defense a look when you're a scout team player to the best of your ability. Everything you do is just to the best of your ability, and then eventually your work will pay off.
All right, thanks.
Wags.
Well, I asked you to describe your running style. What about James Harris II? I think he's a little bit different fullback than you. How would you describe James?
I'd definitely say he's also a downhill runner, but he's bigger than me, or like heavier than me, and I'd say he's more of a smash in your face type of fullback.
We all know that blocking is critical to the position, and you're not going to play if you don't block properly, both for the slots or whether it's in pass blocking. Where would Coach McDonald say you and James are blocking wise?
I'd say he's satisfied with both of us. We're always have room to improve, but we both showed that we can do the job, and I think he trusts us.
And lastly, for me, obviously, one of the things about Jamal and even Nelson, if they broke into the clear, they could finish and take it to the house. Do you feel like you have that ability? Do you have the speed that if you get in past the second level, you can go?
I do. I think just the way our offense runs and stuff, it sets us up well. When we do break into the free, we're already going to be past the safety level, and I feel like I have the speed to close.